Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we all know about the horrific news about the Veterans Administration scandal, incompetence, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about what we know of for sure, at least what I know of for sure, is the deaths of 40 vets who died waiting for to be seen for medical attention, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting for appointments. And there were hearings today up on Capitol Hill. And joining us now is senior investigative reporter for the Washington Examiner. We say hello to Mark Flatten, and he was up there at the hearings. And I know that Mark, those hearings just broke up not too long ago, and I know that the chief of the department, Shinseki, also spoke to the press briefly. So what happened today? Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. The top line of all this is, in terms of the questioning, was that Shinseki was asked repeatedly about these are not new problems. I mean, the things that happened in Phoenix, and you should clarify that the allegation is up to 40 patient deaths, but the reality is they don't know how many patients may have died because of delayed care. But that's what's in the news these days is what happened in Phoenix. What was discussed really extensively in this hearing is these are not new allegations, that the Government Accountability Office and their own Inspector General have been documenting these practices for years and years and years, and yet VA has failed to correct them. Now, Shinseki repeatedly kind of dodged the question by basically saying, well, you know, we need to wait for the Inspector General to finish his investigation, and just sort of generically saying we hold people accountable. But if there was one question that was asked the most and answered the least today, it would be, why haven't you fixed this problem sooner? You've known about it for years.
Yeah, and the criticism and the hard questioning was bipartisan in nature, I believe, and well, it should be on something like this. There were calls, of course, for his resignation. He's gotten the support of the administration. What was the reaction to him? I mean, did people at the hearing, at the committee hearing, members of the committee, anybody there urge him to step down?
Not at the committee hearing. Now, there are a couple of members, a couple of Republicans who have said that Secretary Shinseki should resign. One senator did specifically ask him, do you think you should resign? And you can predict what his answer was, which was no. Basically, the secretary's answer was, this is not a job to me. This is a mission that I am on to make this place a more effective place for veterans. But you're right. This was, when you look at the questioning, very hard, pointed, intense questioning. It came from both sides. If you didn't know which ones were Democrats and which were Republicans, you would have no way of knowing, because the Democrats were clearly not satisfied with the answer, or the answers they were getting, any more than the Republicans were. So this was just a truly bipartisan skepticism and desire to really get some answers to these questions.
All right, so what did he say he would do going forward? I mean, he said he was mad as hell about all this, and and he's going to get to the bottom of it. Were there any specifics? Was there any plan laid out? Was there any timetable given?
No, and that's one of the frustrations is the easy dodge. I mean, it's not just Secretary Shinseki, it's the oldest dodge in the government of, well, that's under investigation. I can't really get into it real deeply right now. And he basically fell back on that dodge sort of repeatedly. But, he had the strong language. He had the appropriate language that everybody was expecting. He's outraged. He's determined to get to the bottom of it. He won't tolerate it. But when asked specifically, what are you going to do about it, he kept coming back to we'll have to see what the Inspector General finds. We'll have to see the results of those investigations. And then again, sort of generically saying, well, we hold our people accountable. So very specific, very pointed questions about why has VA failed to fix this problem when it's been identified multiple times over the years. Very vague general answers about we hold our people accountable, and we kind of want to see the results of the investigation.
Well, I know McCain wasn't happy. Of course, not only is he, we know the history of him in the military, but also, of course, it was his state where these deaths occurred that we're talking about, and he called it a crisis of confidence, I believe, and he wanted to know, he said we should all be ashamed, is what he said, I guess.
Yeah, and again, McCain's outrage and level of discussed what the situation, it was no more pitch than the other people on the committee. I mean, this is not a partisan issue. I mean, if veterans are dying because of improper care, that's not a Republican or Democratic issue. That is an unacceptable situation, and the members of the committee made that very clear today, that we don't really care about the niceties here, that we're going to get to the bottom of this. And you can put us off, Mr. Secretary, with sort of generic answers for a while, but our patience is very thin at this point.
And one more, maybe you address this, but real quick, I think it was Senator Burr who said, why were these national audits and statements of concern? Why are we only learning about all these issues now after it's been exposed in Phoenix?
Well, most of Senator Burr's concern and other committees is not so much that we're just learning of them, it's that VA is just responding to them. I mean, for instance, exactly the situation that's going on in Phoenix with the two sets of books, that exact practice was identified well over a year ago by the Government Accountability Office in a report.
Right.
VA didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, he's really got a lot to answer for, and he's got his hands full. Shinseki, I don't know how much longer or how much more of this anybody could take, even the president, who apparently supports him. Thank you very much. Great to talk to you. I know you're very busy, Mark. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. My
pleasure. Mark Flatten, ladies and gentlemen, senior investigative reporter for the Washington Examiner. Horrific. Our veterans should have the best of everything. And when it comes to their health care, no one should have better access to health care than our veterans. And it turns out their access and their health care in many cases is horrific. All right, don't go away. More of the Steve Malzberg Show coming.